Hey everybody, I am Sophia and today I'm going to show you how to edit your knitwear photos like a boss using Google Photos. This is part of an even bigger series of mini and master classes that I have on my website. A few of them are even free. So if you like what you see here today, make sure you click the link below to my website so you have access to even more classes that can help launch your knitting career or just help you have a really cool Instagram or social media feed. So without further ado, here it is, my mini class on how to edit your knitwear photos like a boss. So today I am going to delve deep into my Google Photos account. For those who don't know, this is a free web-based program offered by Google. All you need to access it is a Gmail account. Once you're logged into Gmail, then you can go to photos.google.com. You can also access the same exact program. It looks exactly the same on your phone via the app, the Google Photos app. It's free. It's available in all the app stores, regardless if you have a Samsung or an iPhone or what have you. It's on there and it's free. And the beauty of Google Photos and why I really use it is that it's a great way to save your pictures on your phone, because I take a lot of photos with being a designer. So I don't like to have those photos in my phone taking up all my space. Okay. Ain't got time for that. Ain't got space for that. So what I do have a Samsung device. So I just have all my pictures automatically upload to the Google Cloud, and then it's accessible on google.com or in the app. So that way I can actually resave it to my phone if I want, or keep it hanging out in the cloud. In the cloud, I can also edit it. And the beauty of it is that for those who know me and know my process and took my other classes, then you know that I do a lot of my designing and pattern grading and all my mathy stuff for my business using Google Apps. And so the fact that everything is saved in Google Photos, that means it's already accessible to be used in a Google Sheets or in Google Slides and so on and so forth. So that's why I love Google Photos. Now, I'm going to admit this is not the best editing software, okay? But this is a really convenient, fast, easy way to edit your photos without having to learn a really difficult program. I mean, like really. And also you can take what you learn from this video and apply it to your Instagram account as well, because a lot of what is offered on Google Photos is also offered in your Instagram editing. So this can actually work with other basic photo editing programs as well. It's not just limited to Google Photos. We're pretty much going to use the same controls and very similar filters. I mean, so it's not that hard. And let's get started with the actual editing. So here I am exposing myself. You're going to see a whole bunch of ugly photos over here. I mean, photos that did not make the cut for social media. So here is a picture of my Pines cardigan, and oh, it looks like poop brown, y'all. It really does. And down here, you can see it's a green cardigan. It's green. It's luscious. It's flattering. And here I took it in dark lighting on a brown ottoman, and it really brought out all the poop brown in that color. I don't get it. I don't understand what happened. And that's why no one has seen this picture. But you're going to see it today, okay? Y'all going to see it. You're going to see it shine. It's going to shine bright. It's going to shine bright like a green emerald. So all I did was that after I have my photos already uploaded in Google Photos, and if you don't know how to do that, you have to just hit the upload. I prefer to do this on my phone, and then I access it on my computer because I love the bigger screen. I upload my phone because that's where all my pictures are. And also, it's just what I have on me usually. And then I'll go back and I will edit it in the big screen. You can also do the same editing process on your phone, but I just prefer my computer. It's just big, bright, and glorious. So here I'm just clicking on this picture, and now I am going to hit the edit. In this upper right hand corner, you got this little menu bar. Just going to hit the edit. And now I am just going to feast my eyes on this thing. This is the original color. Sometimes it picks the filter that works best with it, and it keeps picking alpaca. See, that brought out the green. This is the original cruddy. And this is it with the filter. I'm still going to play around with filters still. So the filter you want to pick is the filter that brings out the natural color of the garment. You really want to keep it looking as under edited as possible. People don't like looking at heavily edited pictures, okay? It can look really like you're trying too hard. It can really make the picture only look aesthetically pleasing to some people. It can make the picture look really weird and faked, and it makes it look like you're hiding something. So you really want to make sure that the picture looks under edited, even though you may have spent like 5 minutes getting it to look like that. So I am going to play around with other filters, and of course they're all on the highest capacity, and that's how I like to start off. And for me, blush and alpaca seem to be the best. Now, if you're struggling between two filters, you want to pick the one that really brings out that color and doesn't wash out too much. You can always change the washing out in the next step, but you want to start off from easier than harder. So for me, I find that blush kind of just changes that green to like an off green brown color, and I already want to start off on the right foot with a nice deep green. I'm going to pick alpaca. Now, usually I then like to make my filters less intense by using this bar down here. I personally think that this picture needs all the help that it can get. I mean, changing that intensity just makes it look more and more like gross. So we're going to definitely move that up to the highest intensity because this picture was so low quality. It doesn't seem to make it look over processed at all. And to make sure your picture isn't over processed, don't stick to looking at one section. Sometimes I find myself just looking at like one section of the picture and then the rest could look like crud. And like for me, whenever I take an outdoor picture, I might focus on myself if I'm in the picture and not so much the sky behind me. And then what can happen is as you're editing, that sky could wash out and you can lose a lot of the cloud formations in the sky. So when you edit your pictures, make sure you're looking at your picture as a whole. Try to refrain from just looking at the subject. Make sure you look how the editing has changed the background as well, because that can really make and break your picture. So here I have it on alpaca, I have it on full blast, and now I'm going to get into the nitty gritty of editing. I'm going to click just once this basic adjustments, and then I am going to open up the granddaddy of the light option by hitting this drop down arrow right here. And here I have everything that I love to play with when I do my photos. So when I edit my photos using my light options, I start from the dark to light. And then I start playing around with it once I get a good dark to light ratio. So first, I'm going to start with the shadows. And I see that the shadow has been brought up brighter, and that's just because that's just what the filter did. What I love about Google Photos is that when you pick your filter, it automatically shows you how the filter altered the lighting options, because before filter, it was all in the middle, kind of like how this whites is. So I am just going to play with it some more. I'm going to bring down the shadow. Now, with knits, I love to bring down the shadow. I love getting those heavy, dark creases. I love seeing because it brings out that texture. As you can see, just by doing that, it really brought out the texture that the photo was missing even before I put the filter on it. It just looked like a big washed out, weird brown cloth. And now you can really see, oh my goodness, this is a hand knitted garment. And try not to go too crazy. Keep an eye on the darkest areas and make sure they're not completely dark. For some photo editing, I do like those areas to be almost black. But for this picture, I really want you to see the details, and I don't want to make it too dark. I find this perfect. From here, we are going to work our way back down to the blacks down here. We're going to see if we want to edit this or leave it as is. I am going to lighten it up a little bit. And I don't like how that looked. So I'm going to bring it back to approximately where it was. I might even intensify it a little bit by moving it to the right. Try not to make it too dark. Try not to make it too unrealistic looking. Like this, to me, is a bit of an overkill. You're pretty much making sure if you don't have an eye for this stuff, making sure it looks like you just snapped the photo in perfect lighting. Okay, that's pretty much what you're going for. If it looks processed, then it's probably not looking good. So if you don't have an eye for this stuff, then just keep that in mind. Make sure it looks natural and make sure that you're bringing out those textures. And make sure that you also have subtle highlighting that's not completely washing out the image. So here I'm pretty content with this. I might move, I don't know. I'm tempted to move the shadows ever so slightly. Yeah, that's fine. And now I am going to go up to highlights. And I love doing this close to last because similar if you draw and sketch, you want to put in your shadows first so that way you can kind of meld and form the object, and then you put your highlights to enhance it. And that's the type of approach that I go for with my photo editing as well. So here I have my highlights. I might not go too crazy because this is a picture taken in dim light. I don't want to look like it's got taken in front of a ring light because it's going to look really awkward. It's going to look like it's been edited like that. So I'm just going to very slowly bring up these highlights and make sure I'm looking at all of the picture, and I'm looking to see how that's affecting things like this little shiny button right here, or how it's affecting the cat hairs that are on it, because my cat slept on this thing before I took this picture. Yes, this picture has a tragic beginning from the start. Like, it was tragic from the start, y'all. This picture always was tragic. So, oh, it's so bad. And I am just editing the highlights. I think, you know what, this picture, because it got taken in such darkness, the highlights doesn't really seem to make a big, huge, scary difference. So I'm going to put it up at full highlight. I might not keep it like that, but it does give the merino a nice shine, and it does make the stitches pop without looking too realistic. And you can actually see now where the light's really coming from. It's coming from the right side. It doesn't look like it's all washed out. And now we're going to go into the whites, and we're going to play with this. Don't go too crazy. If you go too crazy, look, it looks like, looks kind of scary. So I might do like a touch of white, like kind of like those touch of gray commercials, just a touch of white. And that even was a bit too much of a touch. Perfect. So I'm pretty content with this now. There are some things that I do that I would probably go back and edit, like the color maybe. So down here, as you can see, the color was already edited. That's just what the filter did. It's the same thing. And they added more blue to it, and that's what really made it look green, the original green color. And we are going to maybe oomph up the color a little bit because it still isn't quite the same green that it is in the photo. So now that we have all of our darks and lights where we want them, we can really get a good representation of the color. So I'm just going to oomph it up by just doing all the color like that. As you can see, when I oomph it up, it makes it kind of brown. So what you want to do is you want to bring in some more blue to kind of bring out that natural green color. Perfect. That's looking perfect. Let's see what happens if we do this. Perfect. As you can see, there's not like a science to it. You're pretty much just playing with it. Unfortunately, when I play with the color, you can really see the cat hair, but you know what? This is real life. Okay, I am not a professional photographer. It's just a bit of my business, so I guess I am. But the cat hair to me is a little offensive. So we are going to bring down that natural color just a touch to make the cat hair, like, you might not even notice it. I mean, I can see it, like, boom, boom, boom. This is where my white cat slept on it. This is where my black cat slept on it. This is where they slept on it together. Like, you can clearly see it. So I kind of want to edit that to make it look less noticeable. But in doing that, you can lose some of the color. So this to me is Good enough. Um, good enough. And what I love about changing the deep blue is that it keeps that ratio that you put in there. So when you change the color, it's keeping all of these ratios put in there. So if you notice that something's looking off, play around with these ratios. Like right now, my blue ratio is high and my skin tone ratio is low because there is no skin tone. And the saturation is pretty high because that picture was pretty undersaturated. So now that this is looking a lot better, it is looking like, oh, hallelujah, like it's looking so much better. We're going to play around with pop, and this just kind of just plays around with the color. And I kind of like to think of it as a, I can't remember like what exactly it's called on sharpen. I think of it as sharpening it a little bit because as you can see, I put it up and you can see every stitch and it looks very fake. You don't want it to look like this. It kind of undoes all that hard work that we put into making it look natural. So use pop sparingly. In fact, a lot of the times I don't even use it, specifically when it's like people's faces. You don't want to see all the nooks and crannies of your nose. I mean, at least I don't. And I'm sure people who I take pictures of don't want that either. Okay, so I use pop, aka sharpen, pretty sparingly. You don't want to go too crazy with it. You don't want it to make it look like a hot mess. So a little goes a long way. I think that's even too much. It might even go back to what it was before. And to me, this is looking pretty darn good. So now we are going to play around with the crop. Now this picture doesn't need a lot of centering. It just needs a little bit of cropping. You can see where this Ottoman kind of ends, and that's a little distracting and weird. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it slightly smaller, and then so you don't lose too much of that picture, we are going to recenter it. And I am using that button as the center of this top square up here. You can see it when I drag. And that's just what I am using for reference. So like there, see, I need to make that smaller again. You don't want to lose too much of the bottom, but you don't want to see that weird thing. And that's fine. That to me, I'm happy with that. It's still not completely centered because there's some extra space up here. So I'm going to make this smaller. You really want to make sure that you don't have like really weird off center. Like if it's cut up a little bit on the bottom, make it a little cut up on top so that way it's balanced. Don't just have it like, oh, I got cut off on the bottom. Don't worry, I got all this extra space on top. That's not really how it works. You really want the picture to be balanced and even all the way around. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just literally dragging it and making it better. Perfect. I'm happy with that. You can see a little bit of where the color is changing over here, but that looks natural and it doesn't look like the whole thing is sloping off. So I'm going to hit done, and yeah, I'm happy with that. You can see a little bit of the white though now that I left, but you know what? That's better than before. It's less distracting. And it looks a little nicer. So if you ever want to compare to what it looked like before, this is helpful to make sure that it doesn't look too over processed, is that it's telling me to click and hold before, after, before, after. Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally hit done so that way it saves. Now let's look at the before and after again. I believe it's before the picture. Oh, no, that's me. Oh, that's pretty bad too. That might be a part two. But look, oh, beautiful. Oh, beautiful. I mean, just look at the wrinkles. Look how deep it looks, and look how that light, that very, very, very deep lighting just makes those colors pop. Before it washed everything out, made it look like poop colored and awkward and look like, well, this is as good as it's going to get, folks. But now over here, beautiful. You see that green again. You know, you can really see those knitting. And I hope this demonstration helped you and inspired you to use this process on your own knits. It's fast, it's free. Like, this did not take that long. I did not do this beforehand. I just opened up the picture and I saw, look cruddy. And so, like, I pretty much did all this on camera in real time. If you want to see some more of my master classes where I really go into nitty gritty of things that you do as a knitwear designer, then go ahead and check out my website. I have some free classes on there that you may also enjoy. And thank you for joining me today. And stay classy, boss babes. Bye.